Well, this Monday morning's off to a rough start. The door just opened, and I thought it was a package, and it was just Renee. Welcome to Clownflownding Clown. Where we take a she's mad. Where we take a look at every single board game campaign finishing up this week, and we've got a lot of tabs open. Likely I will edit all of them out so that you don't have to worry about it. Let's get this trash off of the table and get ready to go. We got a big week this week, so we're going to jump right into it. But before we do that, I want to give a huge shout out to all of my newest patrons. Andre, Harrison, Edward, thank you so much for jumping on board. Thank you to Michael, you know why. And Prodigy too. I got a notification that said you jumped on board, but I'm pretty sure you were jumped on board, so it's probably a weird shifting of something. Doesn't matter. Thank you to all of my patrons, new and old, who've jumped on now, who've jumped on in the past. I am incredibly and forever appreciative of the support that you give to the channel and the emotional support that you will be giving to me when Renee throws something at my head.
Leaves you.
When Renee leaves me. And in fact takes many packages away from me, as she's seemed to be threatening to do. Doesn't matter to me, because I still have all of you. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, you make this this series in particular worth doing, and I just appreciate you all, and I love how much our Discord has been popping lately, and let's keep it going. Because who doesn't love a Discord filled with honest and sensible discussion? And you can't often find that on the internet. People who have, respectful and legitimate arguments and actually listen to each other instead of saying the same point over and over again and shouting at you. Some people on the internet do that. I don't know who it is, but it's a couple people. Luckily, there's none of that in our Discord. So join the Patreon on the Discord and get involved with our voting and whatever. And I just want to say I appreciate you all. My patrons, yeah, you all rock. So let's get into the week. Before we do get into the main crowdfunding campaigns that are happening, we have to talk about Brass Birmingham being the #1 game on Board Game Geek right now. Gloomhaven is dethroned. Gloomhaven has been there for ages, and Brass Birmingham has been making such a solid push, climbing up and up, and I'm so thrilled to see it surpass Gloomhaven because, you know what? I think I like it more than Gloomhaven. I do. I like both. They're both really fun, but I think Brass Birmingham, this gorgeous, thin-looking box right here, packs such an awesome punch, and in honor of that, you can go check out an interview that I just did, or I did a couple weeks ago, but it's airing now, with Martin Wallace, the designer of Brass Birmingham, over on the World Series of Board Gaming's channel. This is our designer series, and you can potentially win yourself a copy of this or a copy of something else. To all those who participate in the Gaia Project one, make sure you go check out the newsletter. Will be coming out this week, and so I'll announce the winner there. Yeah, but we're still going to keep doing this designer series, and the Martin Wallace interview, which was a great interview, should have been released yesterday. So go check that one out if you want stuff to do with Brass Birmingham as well. Martin Wallace is, wow, what a friggin' awesome designer, and he's made #1, and I'm just, I really like Brass Birmingham. The more that I play it, it's just awesome. And you can get really good at it and then go to Vegas. That thus has been your message from Chris the Shill. Now that that's done with, let's get on with campaigns of the week, starting out with Pride and Preju-dice. Preju-dice! A Regency roll and write. A print-and-play roll and write set in the era of Jane Austen, with the players playing Matchmaker. This kind of reminds me of the Pride and Prejudice game, Marrying Mr. Darcy, which was just barely okay. I got it from my sister once, and I was like, oh, this will be really good. And then I played it at a different time, and I thought, oh, this was a very bad choice. And I'm glad that she's never played it because it's not a good game. But you asked for print and plays, so we're covering all of them. This is actually a really busy month on Kickstarter, or a really busy week for campaigns ending. You're going to have to sift through a lot if you're doing it on your own, because there's a lot of zines out there, or zines, or RPG light things that we're not going to cover. But I have a bunch of tabs here, so we might cover some of them and just briefly mention the ones whose titles I thought were funny. I'm glad I'm covering this one because it's actually adorable, especially this. Let's see if that goes on. Here's me looking windswept at Jane Austen's house. This place was the inspiration for the theme of the game. I recommend to visit if you can. Cute. Love this how to play section. Very simple campaign page. They've got a bunch of videos, and also you can read it in text, which I like because I don't like anyone else being on camera except for me. That's the way it should be. But a very simple roll and write. This is describing all the puzzles. This is awesome. This is so much information for print and play that no other print and play has really given me. I love you, Pride and Prejudice. This is officially the best Pride and Prejudice game I've ever seen. Take that, Obsession. Well, it's not really Pride and Prejudice, so that's how I get away with it. But yeah, you can see here a nice overlay of different games that you're going to be playing. There's a diamond game and a heart game, which you can only use those dice for, or you can use the dice for other things like the flowers or the dance. But remember, suitors can't be trusted to mingle on their own. Each turn you'll be marking a chaperone space, which can then get you some extra combos as long as you have a good chaperone, or maybe they look the other way when they're touching each other's ankles. That's what they did in Pride and Prejudice. $4 for print and play, so it's not even $5 as a print and play. This is great if you like print and plays, which a lot of you said you did in the last episode. Well, check this one out. What a great way to start off the week. Let's keep it moving over on GameFound with Witchbound. Explore an enchanting world, learn magic, craft potions, fight monsters, and discover secrets in this open-world, story-driven game about becoming the first witch in over 100 years. The first Avatar in over 100... No, that's something different. Oh yeah, but I should mention Pride and Prejudice does finish tomorrow, February 21st at 7:49 a.m. Just, better get it. Better get it. I feel like I made this intro video. And that's probably not a good thing, actually. But it's making me laugh, so I'm into it. This is nice. Skip the rulebook and learn as you play through the prologue. I like games that do that, because I know a lot of people who are hands-on and aren't like me and don't grasp what they need to know from just reading through the rulebook. And I think having this prologue, especially for story games, feels really good. Robomon did this. A couple other games do this. Etherfields kind of do this, but they just basically make you read the rulebook while you go through. But that's kind of what you need, right? Basic Witch, $40. $40 US. Let's change this to Canadian. Come on. What is it, 56 right now? 55. God, I'm good. This is a great picture here. This kind of tells me the entire experience in one awesome photo. You can go to different spots. That'll lead you to the correct other scene that you want to flip through. It's going to be in a big book, right? Like, that's what it's leading you to believe. It's just a big book. This is really reminding me a lot of Robomon, a similar video game art. You'll have points of interest, which if you have the right thing, you can interact with. Or you have the NPCs with a speech bubble, and you can interact with those characters. And you just combine them together like an unlock style. Where is the rulebook, though? There isn't a rulebook because of the prologue? That's a bit disappointing. Can we do the prologue here? Anyway, we're at shipping, so we might as well talk about it. $16 shipping, or $18 to Canada, or $12 to kind of EU area. That's okay. And that's cheaper in the EU. Most expensive to US and Canada, so that's good for the rest of the world. Well, rest of the world's $34. $18 shipping total, so it's 58, 56-ish to get to Canada, US, and so converted for me, that's like 70 something. It makes it a little bit less interesting for what looks to be just a big book. Because here's the contents, right? You have your storybook, you have your scene book, which are just the areas at which you're going to go, and then the storybook is how you're going to interact with them. You'll have encounter cards, but only 26 encounter cards, so like not too much. You'll have a little map, and you'll have some dice to do your stat checks and see what happens. Rulebook, I wish I could click it. The only thing I'm a bit confused about here is they said you could use your focus. You can either spend your limited focus to succeed or roll the dice and see what fate has to store. So it seems like you'll have different stats, and you can spend that, or you can try to roll to do a check, which is cool. You can guaranteed... if I'm reading this correctly, you can guaranteed get the thing that you want. If it was like a desperate story element that you wanted to succeed at, you could choose to do that, or you could roll for a stat check. And I think having those kind of powers and magic power that you can delve into feels pretty fun. What does the Devout Witch give you versus the Journaling of Jotting? Okay, so nothing important. Coven Cove Compendium. Again, nothing important. Witchwood Tokens to track your hearts, which you're just going to like score regularly. The Coloring Book, which, you don't ever really need. So this is just deluxeification. Great that it gives you what you do get with the deluxeification in a very clear list. GameFound's good that way because it allows you to really like specify what's different between the two pledges, which is always something important to do. Yeah, I'm intrigued. And honestly, for a $40 price point, with some video content here, you could probably see some people go through the prologues. I wish they had the prologue here, or a way to play the prologue. If you know of that, let me know, because these update titles are cute, but they're not helpful, right? I would prefer that they would actually be helpful for someone to be searching through. But it's basically a big choose your own adventure book that you'd probably want to do solo. You know? 1 to 2 players, it says, no, you want to do it solo. And this quick save system is literally just, hey, write down what page you're on. You don't have to deal with cards and stuff, so it'll be easy to pull out and have some fun with. Kind of reminds me of the graphic novel adventures. If you like Van Ryder Games graphic novel adventures, then you might like this. Check it out. Yeah, it looks really fun and a decent price point that feels reasonable for what you're getting. Great job, Witchbound. That finishes Thursday the 23rd, which I thought was tomorrow, but it isn't. Thursday the 23rd at 12 p.m. Yeah, I'll mention this one. I was thinking about not mentioning it. It hasn't funded. It's probably not going to fund. It's also sketching me out a bit. The average person has spent over $100 Canadian on this, which when your base pledge is only $50 Canadian, that feels weird. I think this is really just getting by on the anime art and style, and that's kind of why I'm interested. But I think there's something here to mention. I'm not going to go into too much detail because it probably won't fun. But the draw here is that you're completely overpowered and you can use your cheat skill to win. But all of your skills are super broken and overpowered. So it's kind of a race to get to the end to defeat 3 demon lords, and you're running around, and some of you can just kill them, and some of you can teleport, and you're building up attack cards to roll a bunch of dice. It seems okay, but I also don't think it's gonna get there. Shipping for tier 1 is only 15 Singapore dollars, which is basically 15 Canadian. So that's like 12 US. That feels like really good shipping. It feels like almost underestimating the shipping, and I only say that because it's the first created game. But hey, if you want to take a chance on this, and the idea of having like a super broken power where you can just decimate the game, and the game's not going to be hard, it's more about being as quick as you can, right? I think that's the difference here, and that's what you'd want to get into if you're interested in that. So check it out. I think worth mentioning, but that's it. I clicked on this because I saw it was also print and play, but I'm really distracted because it is by Nuts Publishing, and so you can say, I'm not afraid of Nuts Publishing. Who would be? Another print and play, let's check it out. This is a quick 2-player area control print and play with a strong theme, it says. Now, this one's $5 US, €5 actually, so 8 Canadian. I think it's going to go to Pride and Prejudice. Pride and Prejudice looks fun. I hope the minigames are okay. This seems standard as roll and writes. Anyway, let's focus on this roll and write. Come on now. Rulebook readily available, though, so that's great. I'm Not Afraid is a game about rallying people and obtaining a majority to your cause, blah, 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 blah. The one with the most points wins. Yeah, that's about right. Very strong theme. Okay, that's kind of cool. So, yeah, this seems like actually a fun little game as well. You're going to have a number of dice and a number of meeples, and you're going to try to be gaining majority of this stuff, and you can roll the dice and put any number of dice you want on a specific side. You'll see here, can I zoom in? Yeah. You'll see here that it's broken up into, see, this one has 4 4s on this side and a question mark and a question mark, and this one has a question mark and 4 4s, right? And so it's a bit easier for the green team to take the church right now because they only need 3 4s and 2 of whatever they want. So you're going to roll your dice, and if you're able to like make a match on things, you can then gain immediate majority and you get that spot. If you don't make a match, you can leave them out there and be fighting for majority. And this person who has the most majority at the end of the game kind of wins. Seems like a pretty fun idea, you know? You do need 12 dice of each color and 10 meeples, so 5 of each color. But actually, as far as print and plays go, again, looks pretty decent. Looks much more decent than I was expecting with this picture. I thought I'd make a few funny jokes, but I didn't make any because I was impressed by the I never make any, but I was impressed by the game. worth checking out if you like print and plays. Kind of a neat idea. 15 to 30 minutes of just rolling dice and using those dice strategically to compete with where people are going and taking actions relative to that spot. That sounds like a fun premise. Yeah, I like that a lot. So check that out. The finish is Wednesday, February 22nd at 11:59 a.m. Moving along to another print and play, Make 100. You know what Make 100 means? I didn't know this, and then I finally looked it up. Make 100 means they're only making 100 of them. It's a challenge by Kickstarter to get people to just make 100 of something. And so this one, they're only making 100. But this is a print and play game for 2 players. A cute little mouse collects food for her 3 little mice. It's a simple and profound game. Well, it better be when you say it like that. The cheese was in its place. The cheese has always been in its place. And perhaps the cheese may seem like it is not in its place, but when you take a second look, you might know that the cheese is in its place. And it kind of reflects just a beautiful message about life, right? About knowing where we stand and what we are and being comfortable in being devoured by a giant mouse. Oh my god. Just off screen, thank goodness Artie was here to save me. So this is kind of like a little grid game. Yeah, it seems fun enough too. I think I'd just check out Reviving Kathmandu, which also came out today. I put a review out today for it because it came out, I think, earlier today on Kickstarter, and we'll cover that when it gets to it. But basically, you're going to have a hand of mouse cards, and you're going to play mouse cards on these rows, and then you'll get to act in the rows. So the quicker mice get to go first and choose what they want. So if this 5 mouse came and he took that 1, then the 9 mouse acting later could only choose between the 4 and the 2. But as you go up, the bigger mice can collect more of the stuff and take it back. And you want to get 3 of a kind. You want to get the most points. Yeah, seems neat. If you like that idea, check it out. It's only... Oh, it's a bit expensive, though. For a print and play, it's 1,000 yen or 11 Canadian dollars, so like $8 US. This is the least interesting out of the 3 print and plays that we've looked at so far, and it's the most expensive. So I wouldn't necessarily be interested, but if you are, check it out. Wednesday, February 22nd at 7:01 p.m. Let's move on to Microbots. Duel and Power Up. A dueling game of robots with big lasers that fits in a mint tin. So it's just like Tin Monsters. PVC cards. No, that's probably good in a tin sort of game. And there's a print and play here. Okay, I'm interested. What's really interesting, so how to play is, it's not a huge campaign page, and we're going to get to how to play in a second, but I love that this is highlighted here. It's a really smart decision highlighting it there because that's what's making it stand out from other tin games. I feel with a lot of small tin games, you see a lot of games that are small in size, and this is saying, listen, ours is small in size, but it's going to have super duper great quality that you're going to want to play it. And I feel myself being more inclined to and excited about it because of this, even though the video didn't actually bring me in. And that's what deluxification... That's the trap of deluxification, right? Of saying, oh yeah, this feels like it's going to be a really well-produced game and not actually caring if it's going to be the game for you or not. Again, I haven't read anything about it yet. I'm just about to, but I thought that was an interesting mental check that I just went through that I figured I should articulate because it happens a lot. Things are structured in that certain way to get you excited, and it's great to be excited as long as I think you're being excited for the right reasons. This actually looks pretty fun. Let's see the rule book, but I feel like that how to play section was very, very informative. Oh yeah, this isn't going to tell me anything else because it's 2 pages. Cool. This actually looks solid as like a quick 2-player head-to-head card game.
So it's just like Duel Monsters.
It is. It is just like Duel Monsters with a little bit of a nice little bidding element to it. You're going to play a card, and the lowest initiative goes first. That's what this graphic is. And you can be playing weapon cards or support cards, which apparently get better as you go along. But the interesting part of the game, at least for me, is that you get to play power tokens to boost your attack or defense. And these tokens will be exhausted until you play a recharge card. And so you're going to have to go back and forth as to when you want to put these power tokens in, when you recharge, when you leave yourself exposed, when you can take the hit, out bluffing your opponent. There's been a lot of that recently. Again, Reviving Kathmandu has that in it as well. And that's something that I like. That particular mechanic is something that I enjoy, and the tense battle off, and then being able to upgrade cards as well. It kind of looks like a smaller 2-player version of King of Tokyo. is the feeling I get without the dice rolling and with an added element of bluffing to it. But that seems fairly fun, considering it's only £10, $17 Canadian, or £18, $30 Canadian for the Power Up expansion, which just gives you some unique abilities. What's the shipping like? It's small. Oh, it's really good in the UK. £250, which again is $5 Canadian. We got to remember about that. We're around there. £7 to ship to the rest of the world, or £5 to ship to the EU, which is $11 Canadian to ship. So you're looking at $40 Canadian, or 27, right? 27? Yeah, 27. I wouldn't be contemplating this as an interesting decision, but with it having this fun bluffing thing, and with them seemingly investing in quality with this PVC card sort of thing, you've got my attention, Microbots, and yeah, I'm quite interested. Personally, I'm not interested because I probably wouldn't play it as a 2-player game. I don't play a lot of 2-player games. I don't really, as much as I like the Yu-Gi-Oh meme and GIF, I don't really exist too often in this genre. But from a value perspective, it feels like a nice price point for what you get, and the fact that it goes into a little tin, 20, 26, 40 cards. 40 cards? Yeah, this one looks fun too. This one actually surprised me. This is why I love doing this show and looking at basically anything and everything for you all. Check this one out. That finishes Thursday, February 23rd at 7 a.m. as well. Some pretty good ones so far. I don't think we're covering this. Oh, okay, let's cover it. It's a little solitaire style game, but you have to just get rid of all the cards. Here's the puzzle. If 2 symbols match, you can discard both cards because those are the symbols in the top corner. These big old eyes in the middle don't matter, apparently. There's just giant eyes everywhere, and the only thing that matters, the actual game, is in these corners. That's awful design. But look, if 2 colors match, yeah, it's the same. Oh man, this is just horrible card design. Why wouldn't you save the design? We'll just chop the whole part of the card off. Like, you're not using it for anything. That's weird. Or it's just so you can get a bunch of eyes looking at you. Anyway, 2 symbols match, both can be discarded. 2 colors match, you can discard either card. If no cards can be discarded, shift the top cards to other piles. No explanation really how to do that, but we're going to try to do it out here. So here, we have no symbols that match, right? And no colors that match. So you can shift the top card to another pile to like open things up. So this is how you would solve this one. It's kind of a fun little puzzle. And at first I was like, okay, well those symbols match. No, it's these right here. So you'd shift this over, right? You'd shift this over, and then you'd say, okay, I'm going to match these 2 colors, and I'm going to discard this one, right? This brick, this table one. And then you could have, okay, I've got fire and fire, both symbols. Boom, I can discard both of those. You're left with 3 cards. Boom, boom, boom. You're going to take the black and the black to discard one of them. You take that out, and then you have left with 2 symbols of the same. You take that out. So kind of a fun little thing, fun little puzzle to think about, but not $39 worth of fun. No, thank you. And then what's because they're tarot cards, illustrated fortune book. Okay, it's fine. $10 shipping, so it's $50 to get this. No, in what world is this worth $50? I don't think any world. But that was a fun little puzzle to do, and now I'm happy forgetting about it. But if this looks interesting to you, there's different challenges that you can check out. Plus, with a fortune-telling vibe, sure, the art looks nice when I see art, but I just hate that the game is played with the symbols in the corners. So anyway, that finishes February 23rd at 8 a.m. Didn't we see this before? We did see it before. That was back in April 2022. That's why I remember it. I think it was just fine then, and I assume it's going to be just fine now. Well, let's see. See, this is the reason why you should get it, if you're interested in the art of it all. This, I think, is an art piece. It's made by paper craftsmen, and you can see him sort of laying the pieces of paper by hand, and then squishing them together. And you can see the layers of it, and being able to like make that paper is with 9 layers. That does seem really cool. So this is like an updated deluxe version of that that Bossa game. All right, after that excruciating video, I have some remnant of how to play. Geez, you roll 2 dice, you choose a color, the other person gets to go first, and then you have to put tiles next to the dice, and the numbers on the tiles have to correspond with the dice. You have a black pip dice and a white pip dice, so you can only use the white pips for this one and the black pips for this one, and then you have to go in either ascending or descending order. So this is a 4, so you'll see that there's a 5. There are 5 white pips there, so it's 4, 5, right? Here's a 4, you got 3, and then you got 2, and then you'd have to get a 1. You win if you get 6 rows here next to your stuff, or if you run out of tiles in your hand, because you can play more than one tile. You can play a row of 3. The other indication is that, let's get a better picture. Yeah, there we go. I want a better picture, please. Is you can play tiles, but you can only play tiles that are also different in the number of tiles here. So you see how it's 1, 2, and 3. You could play a 2 tile here. You could play even 4 tiles there, right? See how that's 2, then a 1, then a 2. Here you could do a 1 or a 3 row, basically. That's okay. You could get one standard edition for 26 bucks Canadian. That's fine, but the standard edition isn't that beautiful edition. It's just like, and they're going through all of their stuff. The classic Neo, approximately $54 plus shipping. Like, I understand that there's a lot of craftsmanship involved here, and good shipping because it weighs like paper, but there's no way that anyone should ever pay this amount of stuff for the craftsmanship on it. I mean, or the gameplay rather. You know, maybe you like the craftsmanship, maybe you want to invest in it. The game just seems fine, and yeah, I wouldn't get it, but there you go. Now you know what Bossa is for inevitably in about a year when it comes out with 14 layers of the Ultra Edition. So check that out. That's Thursday, February 23rd at 9:59 a.m. Moving along to Exsilium. We're actually not covering this. I just want to look at this, why this has 0 money. Nobody wants this. No one has ever wanted this ever. And posted February 4th. There were 2 comments. Good luck in the campaign. I think they're going to need more than luck. It's got all the buzzwords you could want. You're going to be fighting over crystals and doing deck building with no art, but I actually don't mind the art design. It's got minis, which everyone loves for Kickstarter. You got a little board to battle over. I don't know why this isn't... No one has looked at this ever. And that's probably because 65 bucks, 65 euros, 94 Canadian... Yeah, like that's too expensive for a very simple grid-style game, but you're getting a bunch of minis for it. I don't know. Let me know. There's a rulebook, too. I would have expected no rulebook here. Okay, we've got too much of a busy week to look at something that has 10 backers, but I'm just so curious because I've legitimately never seen a campaign that's done so poorly, other than this one. And I think the art here screams Kickstarter to me. So I'm just curious why this is actually doing so poorly. I mean, initial gut check reminds me of Mythic Battles Pantheon. That's kind of what it's going with here. Seems very basic. You just draw cards for everything and say, did you get this? Did you get this? I mean, I can see there's a potential lack of interesting choices and interesting decisions because everything is simplistic. But I think it's more about moving your people on the board. I don't know. You want to get the most barrelitas. Bartisas. No, Bartisa's a trash person. Sorry. Nancy, you deserve better. Hashtag Love is Blind 3. Yeah, that's Exsilium. Don't check it out, because I just don't get it. It's like somebody launched it and then just gave up. Spent all this time and then did nothing with it. It does not look horrible. It looks about medium, and many medium games have achieved great success on Kickstarter, so don't know. But we got to move on. We're not covering this. I just thought it was a funny name, and people seem to like it. Realms of Pugmire, tabletop RPG. Fun art. I mean, if you want a fun anthropomorphic animal RPG, check out Mouse Guard. That was a fun system to go through. And speaking of, if you like RPGs, be sure to tune in to the RPG Book Club. The next episode will be coming out next week. Yes, it will, Zach. Yes, it will. I'll be bringing over my tripod later this week. Anyway, if you like RPGs, this has raised a decent amount of money for an RPG, and it's got fun art. What more do you want? Check that out if you like RPGs. Moving along, we have Dwellings of Andromeda's The Edge of Eldervale. One of them, I forget. Somebody made a better title than I could ever do. This is Andromeda's Edge. Andromeda's Edge is our next up to bat. This has raised over $1 million, and so that's why you may have seen me talking about it in a 5 Reasons You Shouldn't Back Andromeda's Edge. So if you haven't seen that, go check that out, because I go over all of the similarities with it and Dwellings of Eldervale, and all of the differences, which are like 2. It's Dwellings of Eldervale with a space skin on it and some minor rule tweaks. So if Dwellings of Eldervale was interesting to you, then I think you should get this. If Dwellings of Eldervale didn't look interesting to you, then I don't know if you should. For me personally, Dwellings of Eldervale I got because it was Mike DeLisio's #1 game of all time. It had a lot of hype around it, and I was like, oh, Mike DeLisio, the new edition. And I thought it was good, but I think it's just good so far. But this one, if you listen to the campaign page, is gonna be better, doing Dwellings of Eldervale, but better. That's basically the story that this campaign page gives you. So I'll try not to rehash that video too much in this, but I'll give you a breakdown in case you're curious what Andromeda's Edge is. It's everything in the kitchen sink, basically. But the main elements here are worker placement and tech tracks and area control. Yeah, there's a lot. You're going to start with a number of different units. You're going to put those units out on the space stations. You're going to get some stuff. You're going to use that stuff to either purchase cards and whatever that'll help you go up on some tech tracks. And then you can take back all of your units. And when you take back all your units, you then get to activate the tableau that you've been busily creating and do special abilities and whatever. Person with the most points wins. That's the general overview. Dwellings of Eldervale was by Breaking Games. This one is by Cardboard Alchemy, which I really like Cardboard Alchemy. You probably remember Cardboard Alchemy from Flamecraft, and that deluxe edition is really nice. It is. I know it is. I really enjoy it. It's Flamecraft's kind of a very basic game, but it's a very satisfying worker placement game. So yeah, I'll try not to rehash things. They've added in a few extra kind of pictures, which is nice. You get the game tray storage, which you can get with the deluxe kit. And then here you have a real handy dandy chart here that'll tell you what's the difference between the standard and the deluxe edition. And I kind of talked about this a little in my 5 Reasons You Shouldn't Back. I guess I should have talked about it more, because I heard that I talked about it for like 18 minutes or something, and if I check the timestamps, it probably isn't that. But I guess we'll talk about it a little bit more right now. I think this is a pretty bad way of outlining what the difference is. I've seen some good ways of outlining what the differences between the pledges are. I think it's a bad way of outlining what the differences are. And I think the play here, even though, GameFound likes to suggest the highlight, the all-in, the big cost version on the side, so that you just say, oh, I've heard about that. Oh, I guess that's what the price is. I'll select this reward. Really the way to go here, and I think will be a reasonable purchase, is the standard edition, because it's going to cost you $69 and $69 US. Why is this not in Canadian for me? Well, we'll keep it in US. The $69 US versus the $129 of the deluxe edition, which you're still saving $10 if you bought them separately, because this is a new thing since last I checked. The deluxe upgrade kit, I guess this is what you can get without the language content. So this way you can get the language that you prefer and may not be offered in the Kickstarter. I love that. I love that that's being offered. Yeah, the standard edition is the way to go here, though, because $69, it's $100 Canadian, and then shipping is $22 US as we go through it. This is weird. Where's my video? I made a video on this. Doesn't seem to be showing up. Actually, the only person who almost put my 5 Reasons video on their campaign page was Final Girl from Brand Rider Games. He said, I'm very close to putting this on the page, because he appreciated the points and whatever, which I thought that was a nice comment. So $22 to ship. Or 22 to 25. The difference between the deluxe and the standard isn't that significant, and that's because you're basically getting the same amount of stuff shipped to you. So 25, so your total cost is not $69, it'll be $91, right? But in the $69 pledge, you are getting an expansion that they're going to sell later, and this is just a solo expansion and the 5-player expansion, which honestly, if you don't care about solo, and you don't care about the 5th player, which I probably wouldn't care about the 5th player in the Dwellings of Eldervale if it didn't exist in there. I think 4 players is a completely fine amount of stuff, and I think 5 players, I don't know if I'd play that at 5 players quite frequently. But if you're interested in those things, then this is definitely a good buy to make, because the expansion is going to be $29 MSRP, and you're actually only paying $22 to $25, so you actually get that value back, and that's pretty good. My issue here, because I got to talk about it for 18 minutes, right? I heard that I had to do that. Somebody let me know that. I'm not going to get into it, but if you know, you know. My issue here, and I stand by this, is that right here, this graph is not meant to tell you the differences between the 2 editions. It's pretending like it is, but it's really just trying to tell you, look, you get this extra value with this expansion, right? Player count 2 to 4, solo and 1 player, plus 1 player. Player count 1 to 5 players. This is the same. Let's look at it line by line, shall we, and see what of this is actually telling you different information and is pretending to tell you different information. So this is the regular pledge that you're getting. This is designed to say, listen, you should get this now if you want the same content as the deluxe edition, right? Otherwise, it's going to cost you a little bit more at retail, a small amount more, because you'll be paying the shipping. But you do save money here. So let's look at it. Differences. Game found, money. Ooh, that's 1 difference. Okay, cool. Player count, this says the same thing, so not a difference. Starships, this says the same thing. Certainly doesn't look like it does, but it does say the same thing. So not a difference. 36 plus 9 is 45. Again, you're getting the same thing between the 2. And for me, it doesn't matter what I'm getting here, because you're not offering the standard edition without the free expansion to it. You're not offering that as a pledge tier of like a $60 tier, right? Save your money, whatever. You're not doing that. You're offering this is your bundle and this is your bundle. So we want to, or I would assume the only logical thing that you should want to do is to differentiate between these 2 bundles. So not a difference. Okay. So we got 1 difference. Price is 1 difference. Great. Player pieces, 84 and 21. That makes 105. Not a difference. PlayStations, 4 and 1 makes 5. Not a difference. You're saying the same thing twice this time. Development cards and development ability cards. 15 standees, 15 mini cards, 15 cards. Oh, 15 miniatures. Look at that. You get 15 minis versus 15 standees. Another difference. We got 2 differences. That's good. Player aids, not a difference. Faction cards and upgrade tiles. Oof, this looks like it could be a difference. And hey, it's improved, because it was 9 and 2 and now it's 11 and 2. So that's kind of cool. But you'll see it's also in the standard edition, showing you what stretch goals are actually meaning. 11 plus 2 is 13, not a difference. Ship upgrade tiles, neutral ships and neutral ships. Oh, 16 plus 4 is 20, not a difference. Tactics cards, 68 tactics mini cards. Hey, there's not even a difference here, so let's just repeat it, because this is showing everything. Region tiles, 21 region tiles plus 1 region hex. Oh, region hexes, region tiles. I want to change that, doesn't matter. 22, not a difference. Modules, not a difference. Moon tokens, not a difference. Progress tokens, not a difference. Resources, this is a difference. You're going to get upgraded resources. That's cool. So we got 4. We got 4 differences. 66, not a difference. Raider cards, Raider standees versus Raider minis. That is a difference. We got 5 differences. We're rolling here. 3 event cards. Oh, this is almost hidden under this giant mini. I almost missed it. They should bold that or something. Not a difference, not a difference, not a difference, not a difference. Oh, I thought it was a difference, but then I realized 2 plus 1 is 3. Unity probe, hey, you get a mini in both cases. That's great. Not a difference, not a difference, not a difference, no difference, no difference, no difference. Inserts, cardboard dividers only, game trays. So 6 differences. We're communicating 6 differences between the 2 editions, one of those being the price, so 5 actual differences between the content, and we have how many categories? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 25, 26, 27, 28. So 5 out of 28. That might be better than I expected. I know I'm being obnoxious right now. I am. I'm being obnoxious because somebody was being obnoxious towards me, and you can't out-troll a troll, but you can try, but a troll's going to troll back, I'll tell you. I don't like people who don't participate in reasonable discussion, and I don't like hearing about that, so I'm going to double down and triple down on the points here. See, I understand this being broken down in a nice category, and I like that it isn't necessarily a swath of large stuff. And it's true, you know, sometimes there are campaigns where it's hard to distinguish between the two stuff. Like, look, we got a standard edition which tells you exactly what you get in the standard edition. Oh, and then there is a deluxe edition, which tells you, wow, exactly what you get in the deluxe edition. That worked out well. But that can't be the norm, right? We have, oh no, we've got a base game tier here, which tells you the stuff you get, and then the additional stuff you get, plus all base game. That seems fairly clear, but that's got to be look, we got a standard edition here of Raw, and then we have the deluxe edition. Oh, wow, okay, and there is a deluxe edition. It shows exactly the differences between there, but that can't be the norm, right? Like, it can't be the norm when you take something like, I don't know what this is. Oh, deluxe edition, cool, very distinguished, a nice graphic. Really, actually makes me want to get it more than is a better selling material too. You know, really shows me what to. Who did that one again? Probably doesn't matter. This tangent is mainly for my patrons. This is what this tangent is for. I'm not doing this to pick on Cardboard Alchemy. I actually like Cardboard Alchemy as a company, but I think this here, what is the value that this graphic gives you when it's 5 differences out of 28? I don't see that. There's a lot of text and a lot of repeating of the same stuff, and I don't see the point of it other than repeating of the same stuff in a different way, in a way that is more impressive on this side. Let's actually see the pretended differences here, because that it definitely shows a lot more of the pretended differences. So that's a pretend, that's pretend, that's pretend, that's pretend, that's real. Pretend. I gotta count these. 4, 5, 6, 9. 9. We have 9 pretended differences plus 5 actual differences. And I love too that these ships are not yellow when you know they're gonna be they're the same. They're the same because they're faction ships. So everyone's faction pieces are kind of the same because that you need it for readability of their types of stuff. Anyway, so just know before you buy what you're actually getting. That's what I want you to know. I want you to see what you're actually getting. I want you to be able to evaluate the value of what you are actually getting, and if that value is worth the almost double the price. I love that this tier, the deluxe upgrade kit, exists now, because you can see exactly what the upgrades are for the deluxe kit. This is what you're going to get deluxeified, right? The resources, boom, boom, all these trays. And the additional minis and the additional resources. And then you can make that decision if it's worth $70 or if it's worth an extra $60 to go from the $69 pledge to the $129 pledge, not the $189. This just upgrades a bunch of other stuff that they didn't want to upgrade in the deluxe. And that's often how like tiers go. Have I harped on this enough? Have we reached our 18 minutes? I'm not quite sure. I could keep going, but I think we're going to move on. This is a fun game. I think legitimately that Andromeda's Edge looks like it will improve upon every aspect of Dwellings of Eldervale. I really do. I think Cardboard Alchemy is a company that has done some really good stuff and is continuing to move forward in that direction. I think this looks pretty fun. But for me, honestly, it could go either way, depending where you get your games. If you think you'll be able to get it for that $69 and it won't inflate in the year or year and a half that it takes to actually get to your door, then check that out. If not, then wait for retail, because at least from my experience as a non-solo gamer, I would play Dwellings from 2 to 4 people and be completely fine with that. And I assume you'd be completely fine with that in Andromeda's Edge as well. That's funny. Elders of Dwellinon. Is this a fun again? Funginar Sporgoth, is that a fun again pun? I mean, Elders of Dwellinon is clearly Dwellings of Eldervale, right? I like these factions. Like they're clearly a little bit of a wink to some stuff, but not so much. Drakenaran Flamekeepers, the promo faction. I think that's great. Anyway, I know I talked about that differences in what's happening, but if you actually want to hear how the game plays, well, check out the 5 reasons you shouldn't back, because I go in pretty decent detail about gameplay implications and reading through the entire rulebook and pointing out the differences between Dwellings of Eldervale and Andromeda's Edge and describing how it feels. And so you can go check out that, and that'll put you in one direction or the other, as those videos are supposed to do. Let's move on to the Oracle character generator for fantasy RPGs. We're not going to talk about this too much, but I just thought it was a cool idea. You can download a PDF preview to see how it works, but you can pull out just various cards to give you prompts on how you can create different people. If you're looking for a way to create characters, this seems like a pretty neat thing. And it does have a PDF, which I love to see. $25 US, that's kind of standard going rate for a lot of RPG PDFs. It seems, especially on Kickstarter, 34 Canadian, but if you have trouble generating characters, this feels very fun and gives you all these different categories of how to generate them. Yeah, just like a bunch of prompts, right? It's like writing prompts. So if you need RPG prompts, check that out. That finishes Thursday, February 23rd at 4 p.m. Oh yeah, Andromeda's Edge finishes at 3 p.m. on that Thursday as well. Moving along, let's get to Set a Watch, Forsaken Isles, and Doomed Run. This is the final standalone expansion to the Set a Watch trilogy, which adds a new campaign run mode and more to the 1 to 4 player cooperative game that people really enjoy solo as well. A lot of people have said, hey, are you going to check out Set a Watch? And you know what? This one goes out to you once I figure out what this one adds to the main game. If you want to know how to get hyped with a video, boy, oh boy, that is it. I'm just going to turn down the volume a little bit, and you can see this beautiful storage solution. They're talking about, yeah, this is the campaign that it adds. It's like, oh yeah, it's another campaign box. And then they zoom out. They're like, oh, by the way, this can store all of your Set a Watch content. Shabam! Organized perfectly beautifully for the campaign. And then boom, boom, boom. Have you ever seen something so beautiful? I want to know the dimensions of that box, though. Maybe my giant head was a bit in the way, but you get the picture. If you know Set a Watch, you probably already know what the new additions are. There's a little Doom tracker that will add in additional monsters that you have to battle, and then there's this campaign mode. Girl, $32 for a new standalone? Although I just looked it up, and it was 35 Canadian, so about $10 cheaper Canadian for what it is. But still, like, that's a good deal on Kickstarter. Well, is it a good deal? It's a good deal in terms of price point, but you might be able to get it cheaper later. That's what I meant to say. If you're new to Set a Watch, maybe this will give me a graphic to let you know. Oh, look, there's a distinction. What's in, Forsaken Isles, and there's different things in Doomed Run. Wow, smart way to do that. I like that this is actually saying Cult of the New, because you're going to face off and figure out the mystery of the cult behind who's creating on all the Unhallowed, which are the new Doom mechanics and the new monster type that is added into this version of Set a Watch. Well done, well played. That's a pun of Killforth if I've ever heard one. All right, yeah, great. Here's some graphics. That's what I like. In Set a Watch, the majority of your game will be spent dealing with. Oh no, give me the line. There we go. Kind of. I'll just get it from the video. The majority of your time will be spent dealing with this line of monsters. You're going to make camp as you head towards a goal, and every time you make camp, the monsters are like, hey, they're cooking mutton over that giant fire, and you just haven't learned not to light a fire and just camp in the dark. No, you're like, hey, monsters, come on over. I've got a sword sandwich for you, and you stick that right in their mouths. So the majority of your team is going to have to fight off against these monsters, and then one of your team is just going to get to take a break. Everyone else has to do the watch. I love that the premise of the game is like, hey, yeah, some of you are resting and some of you are watching the camp and fighting the monsters. But it's not like your person who's resting ever wakes up. They're like, oh, I'm sure it's fine. I can hear the screams of demons just raging outside my tent, but it's probably fine. And they also get to go to the merchant and buy some more weapons. They're like, I had a very hard day shopping. I need to relax. And meanwhile, everyone else is like desperately working together with their dice that they've rolled to smash these monsters in the face as you have a little peaceful slumber. And I also like that everyone else has to watch because they know it's so dangerous. Only one person can literally sleep. I think that's very funny. These are the new characters: Corsair, Druid, Fire Sorceress, Earth Golem, all different abilities to play with. It feels like this one just makes it a little bit more difficult. I love this too. You must own Set a Watch, Deluxe or Retail. Oh, Deluxe or Retail. Wonder what the differences there are. Should we check? Should we look? Oh, wow, look at this. Retail. What you get in Retail. And then Deluxe, does it repeat it? It doesn't repeat it, does it? It says you get everything plus additional stuff to emphasize the value of going up that additional play. I was just curious. What they used to do back in the 2018 Maybe things have changed for 5 years from now. Should we continue to innovate? I don't know. Okay. Dead horse? Yeah, I'm going to beat it. Because we all love someone who just harps on the same point over and over again and doesn't care about anybody else's opinion, don't we? Don't we? All right, let's get back to Set a Watch. It's great. Yeah, so you need to know, you need to have everything, and guaranteed there'll be a pledge for everything. Standalone trilogy, 130 Canadian, so that's 40 something each, and then you still need shipping. If it's sold out though, this is your chance to get it. And then all in bundle, you add 60 versus the 44 you would add? Oh, because you get a mat and that sort of stuff. Don't like that's the bundle that they're pushing, right? You can probably just add an add-on here for cheaper. Let's see. Are there add-ons? I mean, I get it, but I never like when people force metal coins and stuff on you. Yeah, here you go. Add-ons. Standalone games, boom. Okay, so they're just making different pledges for you. But keep in mind, you can do these add-ons. So you could just do this, the Call to the New, and then add on an additional game for 32 and 32. So 64. So 140, or actually 159 for an extra $19. You could get cloth playmat, metal coins, Outriders expansion. Pretty decent bundle. You save, I mean, it costs you 32 here, so. Anyway, the actual gameplay of Set a Watch, we've kind of lost the thread of it all here. The actual gameplay of Set a Watch looks fun. It kind of reminds me a bit of Aeon's End, I want to say. Like similar vibe to it, similar dealing with the threats of the monsters that keep going as you attempt to attack an overarching goal. I like that each location you are at gives you a different thing, and so depending on what monsters come out, it seems like a very fun system for a very reasonable price point. And if you like tower defense games, check this one out. Even the shipping feels decent for an all-in pledge, only $18, and for the Forsaken Isles, just a small package, $8 shipping. Yeah, this is a great campaign. I think it knocks it out of the park, and it's a system that people have really enjoyed, and I think will continue to enjoy. So I'm happy it's done well. And if you're interested in that finishes Friday, February 24th at 4 p.m. Let's keep it moving. This, just very quickly, I hope this is what I want it to be. If you wanted a dice tower, this is a hollow book dice tower to fit with any home decor, but you can just pull it off the bookshelf and it doesn't need to have a 5-minute long video. But I thought this looked cool. I thought this is a cool idea to have. If you have a lot of books, right? If you have a lot of RPG books, then you can also have a little dice tower book to go along with it. That feels kind of neat. Oh, but it's $75. Jesus. I mean, for that price, you should just buy a regular book that you like the cover of, chop out all the pages, add some cardboard around it, and then put another cardboard cylinder in it and call it a day. Spend your time painting that thing, which is then going to pop up, right? Take a book you like, rip out all the pages, you could make your own for cheaper than $75. Sorry, Hollow Book Dice Tower. We're moving on to God's Gonna Cut You Down. This is the title of this episode of Crowdfunding Countdown. God's Gonna Cut You Down. Somebody, whether it's me or somebody else, I don't know. That's all I wanted. I forgot I clicked on this, and I'm glad past Chris was looking out for my sense of humor. This is a melancholic Western role-playing game for one, inspired by a traditional folk song, and I'm not looking at it because I'm afraid we're gonna have another horse girl situation on our hand. So let's keep moving. Look how easy it is to turn this in 4 corners. So easy to spin the tile. Actually, I take it back. That does seem easy, and that would be annoying to be constantly lifting it up. And would it be annoying? This is one of those things where I'm like, is it a problem or is it just silly? I don't think I'll ever find the answer. I do like this as a concept in a tile laying game because you're constantly grabbing, and if you've got old hoof hands like me, then you're grabbing and you're pushing things to the side, and that actually feels like a really slick way of dealing with that. It's just a little turn, as long as it actually works. This one seems fairly easy. You can place cards, swap tiles around, and you score by matching 4 corners or 4 in a row. And you also have 3 goal cards of what you're wanting to do. That seems kind of fun. I feel like it might get a little annoying of people just swapping things back and forth. but it could be an interesting tactical puzzle. However, it's $32, $44 Canadian, right? And when you take that against the Set a Watch, which we literally just covered for the same price, the exact same price, it's like, what sort of game? You're getting this epic adventure game with a lot of replayability, or you're getting like a pattern matching game. No offense to Four Corners, but I just think Set a Watch, it's a shame that it just came right after Set a Watch, but it looks like this is well made, and I bet shipping's going to be $12. That's decent. $12 is decent for one box. That's kind of what you want. Shipping feels nice here. So if that excites you, that's interesting. By the same people who did Suro. This reminds me of Suro. I've always found Suro to be just kind of okay. And I think this one looks just kind of okay, but maybe it turns your crank. If you like pattern matching, check this one out. That will finish Sunday, February 26th at 6 p.m. And speaking of solo games, we have Pulp Invasion ×3, or the third sort of expansion, whatever. The spaceship expansion. Take your spaceship and hire a new bridge crew to fight against a cosmic hegemony. How much are you going to be? 18 euros, 26 Canadian for an expansion to Pulp Invasion. Pulp Invasion is a 1 to 2 player game. They had like a 2-player little mini thing, but it feels more like a 1-player game to me. It's great. You can check their original campaign page too, which will tell you a little bit more about how to play. I remember thinking it looked fun, Pulp Invasion, back in the day. If you're a solo player, drop it down below if you like the system. Is this just the spaceship changes? So this just details the changes, but I suppose I should refresh your memory on the actual gameplay. Yeah, Meeple Mountain down here. Great job, Meeple Mountain. It has a really well-formatted how to play, and you can get a good sense of it if you forget. If not, you can go back to the main campaign and they can give you a better sense of it, because they're really just talking about the differences between here. It's kind of a bag builder. You're exploring different planets. Your goal is to get a certain number of super weapon cards out there, and if you do, then you win the game, and if you don't, well, then you lose. The rules for the main game are here, and they should be on this other campaign, but they're not, so what are you going to do? Basically, you'll draw a number of encounter cards. You'll create like a line of encounters, and you'll choose if you're going to engage them or fight them, and all the while trying to live up to your own stats and maintain the stuff in the bag. Whenever you do an encounter, you then get to draw your cubes, and then you get to do stuff when they're drawn. You want the yellow ones, because then you get the super weapons, and when you get the super weapons, it's good for you. I think it looks fine. I think it's a decent price point for what it is, and I think the shipping is also decent. So if you like it, if you like Pulp Invasion, I think you're already backing this, because shipping's only €6 to most places, or €5, a really reasonable cost. And this will just give you more cards, more encounters, more of the stuff that you already like. If you are interested in getting Pulp Invasion for the first time, well, then you've got to buy the entire thing for $59, and I just don't think that's worth it, because they don't have it as an add-on. Otherwise, seems pretty simple. If you're looking for a solo bag builder, I hear Warp's Edge is really good. Probably Warp's Edge is better than this, to be honest, but check it out if you're interested. That's Monday, February 27th at 1:43 a.m. Next up, we have Horror Game Show, the board game. A board game about a brutal retro vibe TV show. Sign contracts, buy gears, hire players, prepare dirty tricks, and make your studio famous. I like the theme. I hope you're good. Blood and gore, sexual content, violence. Well, this has got to be good then, right? And this is Sickos, the board game. I really do like, before we get into it, I like that if you're going to be playing a dirty trick during a fight, you can play this, the Dust in the Eyes card. Because I always carry around a nice big bag of dust. Not sand, not grit or mud or nails or glass, nothing. Just dust. It's just, I've been sweeping this off my coffee table for years in preparation for this horrendous fight to the death. And just give me 1 second. I'm ready to fight. I have the upper hand. Oh, it's a bit pricey, I think, for what I'd want it to be, but let's see how it plays. Oh, nice though. Core box contents. Okay, plus some minis. Wow, this really shows me what I get. And doesn't deliberately confuse me to try to sell more pledges. That's cool. It's not even a good example. It wasn't even a good example of showcasing even what you get. It's not good to upsell. You're upselling on things that don't exist and not selling the things that you actually give. Not this one. Some other one. This is the theme of this is the Hunger Games, the horror games, that zombie game at the beginning of Dead Reckoning 2. Dead Reckoning? No, Dead Rising. That's what I'm thinking of. Okay, how to play is at like 3/4 down the page, 2/3, and we still haven't gotten to a rule book. I do think the theme of this is pretty funny, though. You're not playing the characters running around. You're playing, like, the production. And so you don't care if people die. You care about making the most money. You are the villains here, and you will feel like them. Trying to sign contracts with your sponsors, which will clearly define what they expect from you and what they will pay you for, so objectives, right? The theming on this, I think, is really good. I don't like this. The player, to sacrifice the most of their action cards, has the possibility to introduce a hunter. I feel like that's going to be a similar possibility of John Company, of retiring, which feels maybe integral, less integral here, but I don't like the possibility aspect of it. Probably good, though, to give up. Otherwise, people would just spend a whole bunch. I take it back. So this is the Hunger Games. The 3rd, the 6th, and the 9th rounds, sections of the horror arena are destroyed, killing all characters inside. Person who makes the most money wins. Look at that handsome guy. What a great preview.
This is a darker theme, so just be aware of that.
I am aware.
Look into this game.
I'm looking into it.
Something that you don't think you'd be fond of.
Oh, I think I'm fond of it.
But it is a little bit more psychological and visceral. Because
something's getting in my head.
TV shows meets with deranged masterminds like Jigsaw. So
I think he might have been talking about me. Was he talking about me? I don't know. I feel like I just got a shout out. Rulebook. 4/5 down the page. Get it together, horror game show. What are you trying to hide? This whole campaign has really been like theme. What do you actually do? Not clear. But it's gonna be. This is interesting. I like this idea. You can introduce your contestant into the open, or you can introduce your contestant secretly where they're hiding. But even the player doesn't know where the contestant is hiding. So you put it into like a mixed up stuff, and that'll come up later. That seems interesting to me. I would want to know where I was hiding and make it more of like a hidden movement game within a game. But I like that there's a set path for your weaker characters or your stronger characters, and there's a benefit to having them in the open because they can move around. There's a benefit to having them hiding because they can live longer. But remember, it doesn't matter about who lives. It matters about how much money you make. That was going to be YouTube's new slogan, but somebody told them not to do that. What I also think might be interesting here is that you're going to assemble your deck based upon the contestants that you have. So you get the dedicated action cards of that player, and then your turn, the cycle of the game will be you drawing cards, and if you draw cards of a player who's still alive, you can use them. If you draw someone who's dead, then you can discard and draw new ones. But you're going to be cycling through those characters' actions, and only those characters can generally take those actions, it seems. But a character in hiding can still use their actions, they just can't move around. So that's also the danger of not having the characters out on the board, because you're potentially not making money there. And I like this too. The cards will have play or pause symbols, and so you can play as many cards as you want until you hit a pause, and you'll want to presumably use those pauses strategically so that you don't pause right in front of this friggin' guy. Yeah, this one seems fun. This one does seem fun. What's the shipping? 10 euros to Poland, 20 euros to the USA. 25 to Canada. So at a 79 with your standee pledge, which only 2 people have backed. Jeez, you friggin'. Oh no, okay. We had a bunch of early bird stuff. Okay. So 79, it's going to be $99, right? It's in that $100 realm for a standee one, or like $115 to get a few minis. I get it. First time publisher. Doesn't have the connections, probably won't have a large print run to move these things down. I mean, you don't need the minis, right? But it's about a $1 extra per mini, a little less, actually, if you wanted them. I'm interested in this game, but I don't think I'm interested at this price point, unfortunately. It feels like it could be interesting, but then if the action cards aren't interesting, or if everyone can just play a bunch and then there's a lot of downtime, I could see that being a concern. But then again, why am I having these concerns when you have the dust in the eyes card? That's why I kept it there, to remind myself of. So check this one out if you're interested. It is just crossed its funding goal. Way to go, horror game show. You're going to be funded. And that does finish next Tuesday, February 28th at 6:57 a.m. Next up, we have Pigeons 11, a bird heist role-playing game powered by Polymorph. Hashtag ZineQuest. We're not covering this, but I thought it was very funny, and so I figured I'd point it out. If you like RPGs, Pigeons 11, be birds, do crime. What a great tagline that is. Just fantastic. You are a bird. Create your own criminal bird. It seems like we're looking into it. What kind of bird are you? What is your background? What's your criminal specialty? And then short, just ask, how do I pull a job? I know more about security. I get us in, make sure the job goes smoothly. You want it broke, blind, or bedlam? Oh, that's funny. Let's see the price. Digital version, $10? Yeah, just do it. Just do it. Do it for the joke. Let's move on. We've got 2 left. 2 left this week. I was thinking about not having it this week, but I don't anticipate me making a 5 Reasons You Shouldn't Back on it because I'm covering it now. And so I'll try to throw in 5 Reasons You Shouldn't Back to this very already long campaign. But it hasn't reached over $1 million yet, and who knows if it will. That's $1,033,000 Canadian. However, $1 million US is 1,347 Canadian. They still need to raise another $10,000 to cross that bar, and that feels pretty likely. But I also have my content scheduled for next week that I had to film twice, and usually if I get to the crowdfunding countdown and they haven't raised $1 million, and that's what's happening here, I generally won't cover it. It's tough because there still might be enough time to talk about it, but I also feel like I'm not the target audience for this. I already know I'm not the target audience for this because it's by the creators of Mythwind, and I was not the target audience for that. I really don't anticipate to be the target audience for this in a cooperative campaign-style survival crafting board game. I feel like I don't want to play anything like that. So also a reason why I probably won't do the 5 reasons, because it would be overly negative. And I don't do that with my 5 reasons. I don't. I create balanced discussions. Maybe I will have to do a 5 reasons you shouldn't back, because that video, having said, oh yeah, I'm not interested in this whatsoever, I'm like, oh man, this is so beautiful and gives me such a calming vibe and then a beautiful vibe of exploration. This is what a good video could do for you. That's my reason number 1, is the video has taken all thoughts out of the actual experience that you'll feel out of your head and has replaced it with this magical world, which I hope is captured in the actual gameplay of the thing. That video got me hyped for a thing that I had zero interest in. So whoever you paid to make that video, I think you got your money's worth for it. That's what I call good marketing. See, this is calming me down. An entirely new cooking mechanic and expanded animal companion mechanic. And if you want to just live in an open world, I think you're going to have a good time here. If you're not an open world person, I don't think you should get it. That's number 2. Look at that. Even without reading the rulebook yet, I've come up with 2 ones. Well, because Mythwind was Animal Crossing, the board game. That's what it was. It was this big expansive game that had no end and no purpose other than the purpose that you put into it. And that excited a lot of people. That seems like a nightmare to me because I need purpose. I need someone to tell me what to do. That's why I'm an actor. I just follow instructions, okay? I'm incapable of original thought. Really nice, shows you the differences though. Shows you what you get and then, the added things that you get. More campaigns should do that. Would be good. Don't know why more don't do that. What I really would like here is if they told me that I also got 4 mantle miniatures. Actually, I would love it if this said I got 3 mantle miniatures, and then over here it said I got 1 additional mantle miniature, and then down here it told me I got 4 mantle miniatures, because that would just make it easier on my little pea brain. And then I'd know that this one was a better value, right? Because it's all kind of combined together, and the work has been done for me, which is great. That's probably what I would like to see. So slight knock against just Stonesaga, but not too bad so far. Mantle of the Wanderer, of the Seeker, of the Protector, of the Storyteller. I really do love the world building in here, though. Okay, let's get to the... Look, it's sucking me in again, even with these dumb terrain trays that you don't need. I don't need to be sucked, okay? So it tells the story within a timeline of your civilization. Crafting, this is a huge one, or at least you should assume it's a huge one since that's what they're leading with their quotes. I do love this as a highlight, though. I think more campaign games need to structure themselves like this. I mean, they really do, right? It's kind of the limitations we put upon ourselves, that we can't drop in and drop out of a campaign game because we'll miss the all-important story, when most of the campaign games are just scenario-based, and you could say, oh yeah, well, what you missed is we all went into a basement and we fought a big rat. It was pretty cool. Oh, okay, cool, great. Have a skill point. Let's keep moving on. Now the rulebook, please. Oh, here's a how to play. Great. Rulebook is, I don't know, 4/5 down the page. Get it together, Stonesaga. Or don't, because you're doing very well, so it's probably fine. This is a cool character creation. You just roll 5 dice and keep 4. Tip, you're going to want to keep the higher results. Yeah. No, I think you want your might to only be 1. I'm sure that will help you in the challenges to come. Yeah, that's a good playthrough video. The rules are pretty good too. If you want to see, I think this is really good to watch to kind of go through. This was One Stop Co-op Shop who did a stream of it. This is just all the different terrain types that exist in the world, and they were going through the first goals over here. They've got the picture up, so let's just go to that. Through the walls of ice, the sort of stuff that you have to do. You have to gather water at a river. You have to fish at a river. You have to forage at a forest or plains, mine at a chasm, and create a shelter or at a cave. Right? It's all these different things of going through this prehistoric history and figuring out how to even just survive. As you can see here, each place where you're at, you can do different things, which are all about survival. You're going to be getting stuff. You're going to be getting different things and crafting them to make you more efficient. And as you go throughout the game, you'll be more and more efficient. They've got all these little mini games involved in it as well. There's that fishing mini game. There's going to be that cooking mechanic, which you can add in. It's almost trying to be Breath of the Wild, the board game, without any of the fighting. Hence the survival and cooperative thing. And it's really just living in this art world, which is just lovely. Yeah, it looks like a lovely experience that I have zero interest in. Because it feels like it would take up so much time. Shipping is in US dollars. Okay, so it's $125 US total. $125 to get to Canada, $125, $130 US to get to Europe, which is like $160-ish Canadian. You see over here it says core box $132 Canadian, because they're a Canadian company. I think it looks absolutely beautifully made. I think it's going to be a really wild survival game, but if you don't like a serene board game experience where you just survive and you just try to live consistently until the game tells you the game is over, then I don't think you would like it. Like, I know I won't like this. I know it'll be too much for me to sink my teeth into, and I don't have any interest in this whatsoever. But I can also see the appeal for people who do like that sort of thing and who will dive into the survival mechanic. This looks better than Seventh Continent because the survival crafting part was the more interesting part of Seventh Continent and not the dumb riddles. So yeah, check this one out if you're interested. That finishes Tuesday, February 28th at 8 p.m. And finally, we have reached the last game of the week. This has been a long week. Welcome back, baby. We got lots of videos this week too. I have lots of editing to do, but it doesn't matter. This is a game that you might be saying the title of throughout any one of my videos, and that is, what on earth are you talking about? They actually reached out to me to say, hey, do you want to cover this? And I was too busy to give it a designated video. And then it was too late for us to sync up. But I think this one looks kind of fun because I read through the rulebook then, so I don't actually have to read through the rulebook now. It's very simple. It's a very simple party game. Oh, with a hefty price tag. That's gonna suck. This how to play section tells you pretty much all you ever need. There's gonna be a card which has a clue on it, and the aliens have to use these letters to communicate what the clue is, in that order too. So you can say, ocean coming quickly, you should relish these years. No bears worldwide. Who wouldn't relish those years? Tell me about it, everyone. No bears worldwide. I've never been a fan of climate change, but I am now. Oh, I want these aliens to come to our Earth, come to our planet, and save us from the bears. For those of you who didn't know, my entire family was kidnapped by bears. So it's a bit of a touchy subject for me. Oh, no bears worldwide. I hope and pray. That is a thing we can look forward to. So skinny dipping, you could say, let me think of one. The nice skin and the wet movement below lake. Good. Chris still thinks lakes imbue hot breath exiting people's Teeth. That's skinny dipping. It's kind of a fun party game. 150 alien cards, 300 Earth cards. You're going to do different arrangements. It is 37 Canadian, so that's like 30 US. I wish it was cheaper, for what it is. This feels like if it was $20, I'd want it. If it's $40, you really have to feel good about it, especially when you're adding on that shipping as well. So it's like $12 additional dollars. The shipping feels reasonable, I feel, for the package size, but plus 12, you're looking at 50, maybe 55 to 60 on the higher end to get this, just the base game to your door. And that feels, it's a bit expensive for what it is. But if you think that's fun enough to be worth it, check it out. That finishes Tuesday, February 28th at 11:59 p.m. Hitting our bar for this week on Clownfunding Clown. And that's it. That's it for the week. We made it. Now, every week I do a pick for me and a pick for you, and there's going to be some difficult decisions to be made. The pick for me is the thing that I am personally the most interested in, and the pick for you is the thing that I think is a good value or will deliver on its promise or is a good Kickstarter back currently. It varies. It's a pick for you. It's whatever I want. It's something I think you'll enjoy. Something I think the wide variety of people would enjoy. And I did mention what I thought the pick for you was going to be in a previous video, but I don't think it's going to be that anymore, to be honest. I think there are other great things out there. This is tough. There are a lot of good stuff. I've been talking for hours here, or at least looking at my computer for hours and reading rulebooks for hours. And I'm now looking back at the beginning, and we've got stuff like Witchbound, which was it's vying for a spot right now. Yeah, Horror Game Show is also vying for a spot. I legitimately think you could get some dust in your eyes, and that would look good. Andromeda's Edge, I do think that standard edition is a decent pledge, but it's not a pick. The pick for me is going to be Set a Watch. Set a Watch, Forsaken Isles, Doomed Run. This seems like a fun system. It's the third iteration of this system, so, if they've improved upon the system, maybe you're getting the good one here. The Doomed Run, it gets me excited. It's not something that I would want to invest in right out of the gate, right? Like, if you've never played Set a Watch, it would be ludicrous to try to get everything just for that campaign progression sort of system, even though it unlocks fun things. But as it sits at $32, and the shipping is fairly decent as well. $8 shipping to Zone 1, right? To the US, to the UK, and China. $12 shipping to get to Canada. So it's $44 US. It's like $60 Canadian when I could get it likely in retail for around $40, right? You'd save the shipping, but it's still, it's the thing that I am the most interested in playing out of all the games this week, even though Pride and Preju-dice, you get a shout out too. So that's my pick for me, is Set a Watch. And then I think my pick for you is going to be Microbots. I wasn't expecting this whatsoever going into this game. It's a dual one. I think Witchbound actually looks really fun too, but it's going to be Microbots. I think the price point here looks nice. I think the PVC cards are a huge draw, even though I don't like PVC cards, but I do like them in a travel game. I think if it's a travel game, you should be expecting that sort of wear and tear. And I do like the concept in a travel game. I usually think PVC cards are silly, and I think this is the application for them, and that's probably why it gets picked for you status. But I think it's it's a decent price for the amount of stuff that you get with that quality, and I really like that bidding, this idea of manipulating things and using the tokens. I might just be on a high from reviving Catman 2, but still, this reminds me of that, and I really like that too. So yeah, Microbots is the official pick for you. Set a Watch is the official pick for me. No other games, well, Pride and Prejudice and Witchbound. Yeah, those are closer runner-ups than other ones. A lot of good ones this week. Definitely a few ones that I'm excited to talk about. Honorary mention goes out to Brass Birmingham as a pick for you and me, because this game it's really good. Still on my table. But that's it. Let's call it there. Thanks everybody for watching. My regular viewers, my patrons, my first time here. I'm sorry that you had to witness all of my pettiness. That long-winded breakdown of a very clear marketing tactic, because you call it how it is, but that's that's not usually the norm. but sometimes it has to be. I just appreciate you all being here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you tune in next week or into the next videos that are upcoming. Let me know what you are backing, if anything excited you. If you like Stonesaga, I'm also curious about that one in particular, because it doesn't resonate with me, right? But I know it resonates with a lot of people, so I'm curious to see your opinion on it as well. Thanks for being here. I like hanging out with you. I think you're all smart, intelligent, lovely people, and I just hope you have the most wonderful day and an even better week. My name's Chris George, and I don't have a catchphrase. I don't have one. But I might come up with one eventually, and honestly, you should probably keep watching to see if that happens. Artie needs somebody to play with him. A phrase that Fabio has also used in a different context, but about his friend. Artie does this thing where he meows at the bottom of the stairs, and then he hides around the corner. So he's luring you to the top of the stairs to say, oh, where is he? And then he's like, I'm hiding. And then you leave, and he'll come up and be like, you didn't know where I was. Which I think is very funny, and I don't understand the game, but I'm happy to play it, even if I don't understand it. Anyway, thanks everybody. I'll see you in the next one.